Hi guys!
We're back.
I bet you thought you'd never see us again, but ha! And this time, instead of me having the crazy hair, I have no hair. And Karen has a
You can
nice red streak in her
little
hair.
pink stripe. I can
Yeah.
barely even
So
see
we're,
it.
we're kind of feeling our oats, and we're sorry we've been away for a while, but you can imagine, looking at my head, why that has happened. But today we're back with some book talks. And we're going to book talk about some picture books that are kind of unusual, just ones we picked that we thought, gee, we don't see too many like that. So I want to start with this book. It's called Fly. And Fly is part of a series of books from Chronicle that I really like a whole lot. They're called the Touch, Think, Learn books. So you open to the first double-page spread right here. And it says, Bird arrived at the foot of a tree. It was the end of a very long journey. Well, you can see Bird. And if you look, you've got a die cut down here. And what you do is you...
raise it up a little bit. Here we go. Hold on.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, I'll do it.
What you do, and you try to do it while you're talking about the book, is that you take Bird from where he is and put him to where he's going to fly. So it becomes an interactive book, and each page has a die cut that you move the object. You can barely see them here. They're parts of the egg. Mm-hmm. So they kind of blend in with the background. But it's just a really wonderful interactive board book that you can use with kids. And all of the ones in this particular series I think are really wonderful for hands-on board book kinds of activities.
Now, what you would probably want to think about is this is not one that would probably go in general circulation in a library. Why, Terry?
Because things would get lost from it or
the
broken
bird would be
from
gone
it.
the first time anybody checked it out.
So it's great for interactive story time when the kids are in front of you.
Right.
But this is Fly.
Exactly. All right, so I'm going to talk about I Am Not a Chair by Ross Burak. Now, this is hysterical. Giraffe, his first day in the forest, he gets in with everybody, and instead of enjoying his day with all the other animals, what happens is somebody immediately sits on him, mistaking him for a chair. So he spends the entire book trying to convince people he is not a chair, but he never gets the opportunity because somebody is always sitting on him. Eventually, he builds a chair himself to try and say, they will totally see that I am not a chair. But the chair looks just like him too, and instead of one person coming to sit down and chat, two people come and sit down and chat. It just becomes even worse. And it goes along and on and on. He gets all messed up and put back together, and he thinks, well, at least then nobody can sit on me now. Wrong. The birds use him. So eventually, he gets taken home by a human, thinking finally he would not be mistaken for a chair anymore. But he's wrong. The human only wanted him because he looked like a spotted chair. So anyway, the giraffe has to figure out a way to fix this. And it comes from him having to be brave enough and speaking up to a lion to try and get it across to him that he is not a chair. And he gets it figured out in the end. But it's kind of a great circle story, if you say, because in the end, he's doing something that was done to him. And it's just pretty funny.
So the story continues, and kids can continue to
do their own
version
follow-up.
of the story. We love things like that. This is a slightly older book. This is Henry Cole's Spot the Cat. And it's kind of like a Where's Waldo textless book.
Oh, it's hard to find the cat.
You've got the cat who escapes out the window and goes on a journey. The problem is finding the cat. It is hard. But that's part of the fun, is to explore, to try to find the cat and reunite him with his owner by the end of the book. So can you spot the cat? I love that the cover also extends to double-page spreads.
So next we have Kevin Hinks's book Egg, which is gorgeous illustrations, of course. And 4 eggs, 1 big surprise. It says, this is very, very little text throughout this book. I mean, it's like 1 word. Egg, egg, egg. Crack, crack, crack. And you see along the story goes. And surprise, they hatch, goodbye. The last one won't hatch. They're waiting, waiting, waiting. They're listening, listening, listening. They're pecking, pecking, pecking. They continue to peck until finally the surprise pops out. And it shows how even though somebody might be a little different, it doesn't mean you can't be friends. So this is egg. Very simple text, what little there is.
But kids can tell a wonderful story about
Definitely.
it.
They can definitely come up with their own story.
We've got a couple books next that are kind of metafiction in how they're set
Yes.
up. This book is magic, reminds me of Press Here, which I adore because it asks the reader to interact with the book. So it'll say, let's move on to something trickier. This frog used to be a prince. So say the magic word, rub the pink potion, and say Shazam. And when you do, unfortunately, oops, wrong potion. So can we find the right potion that will turn the frog back into the prince? Yes, we can. So it's a lot of that. Say the magic words, bippity-boppity-boo, Shazam, presto changeo, abracadabra. So you must interact with a book in order to have the magic happen.
And then we have another one, the new one by Richard Byrne. This book is Out of Control. Now, the two books previous to this, I absolutely adored. The first one was This Book Just Ate My Dog. And the second one was We're in the Wrong Book. Now, out of those two, We're in the Wrong Book was my absolute favorite because that's the one that incorporated like a different format of book or text on each page. You had graphic novel, you had a reference nonfiction book, you had a fairy tale, and your two characters went through the story through all of those different types of formats. This is a different one. Still cute, but not, in my opinion, as good as the other two. The little boy comes over to the little girl's house with his new toy, a remote-controlled fire truck. And it's got this huge remote that has the buttons that you're supposed to press to make it work. And as soon as he does, he presses the up button and nothing happens to the ladder. But yet you see the dog jumps up. Then he presses spin. Still nothing happens, but the dog spins. So apparently something has happened. Things are out of control because the dog is being controlled instead of the fire truck. Until the very end when the dog is the one that gets them to fixes it for them by having them turn it all the way off and power surge and all this stuff.
Reboot your computer.
That's right,
if it's
exactly.
not working correctly.
Like the IT crowd from BBC. Try turning it off and on again. So anyway, the dog makes it work again. Now, the very end, I do like this button, or this last page, because it says, Dear Reader, there's one button that hasn't been pressed yet. Can you find it? See you again soon, Bella and Ben. Well, the one word that hadn't been used in the story was repeat, which then makes you do the whole story again. I thought that was clever. But while it's cute, and you want it, of course, you'll want it for your collection, because the kids will like it, like the other two. The other ones are still better.
We've got a lot of wordplay coming up in this last, or next to last set of books. This is Words by Christoph Neiman, and it's more than 300 words illustrated that you can learn. And I absolutely love how these are done. Flat, you see the flat tire, but then you also see flat, as in the big paw comes down, boom, pushes it flat. I've marked a few of them here. I love end. And over here you've got hard.
Oh.
Yeah, you hit that cabinet with your head, it's a little hard. And the end, oh, who doesn't hate to see the end of the toilet paper when you need some more? This is try, followed by why. And I love how he's able to bring meaning to words just with these sketches. And our boss said, oh, this would be great for sketchnoting. And she's absolutely right. Mm-hmm. Can you sketchnote some of these words so that they make sense without using the same things that Christoph Neiman does?
Mm-hmm. That's great. Next we have Wet Cement by Bob Rosco. Is that Rosco?
Rosco, I think, but I'm not sure.
It's concrete poetry. So, of course, Wet Cement is a wonderful title for this book. I love concrete poetry. Of course, my favorite one is Paul Janesco. I love Paul Janesco's concrete poems. But this is a good collection as well. So for those of you that don't know what a concrete poem is, it's a poem that is written in such a way that it represents something from the poem. So hanger, and then the rest of the poem is in the shape of a hanger. I hang out in blue jeans and comfy old shirts. I hang out in blouses and long frilly skirts. I hang out in sport coats and sweaters and shawls. I even hang out with no clothes on at all. Woo! So anyway, so this is just nothing but a collection of concrete poems. Look at the corners one. Corners. And then, nothing but corners. Kind of looks like a maze. So definitely a lot of fun. And it's always fun to have kids write concrete poems, because it's a great way to show them. This is the way to prove it beyond a doubt. There are no rules in poetry. You don't have to rhyme. You don't even have to stick to a shape. You can do whatever you want. And what I've done with concrete poems before is I've had them draw a picture or trace a picture if they don't feel comfortable in their skills. So trace the picture of an apple. And then they write their poem of the apple either around the edge of the apple and then erase their drawing, or inside the apple to where they fill up all the space inside and the text creates the actual shape of the apple. So have them draw and then write a poem about that topic. So,
we could start with a sketch note from words and then have the sketch note become a concrete poem. So there's lots and lots and lots of ways that you can use this book.
Here's Firefly, which is perfect because it's a night sky with the words making the little blinkings of the fireflies. It says, I'm here, I'm there, I'm near, I'm far. You try to catch me in a jar. And it's all scattered throughout the page. But of course you know which word comes next because we know traditionally to read from top to bottom, left to right. And this still follows that format.
We've got one more that play with words.
Of course, we love Lois Eller. And here again, this is a wonderful, fun word play. Sweet, sweet story. I've been thinking of you. Do you wonder why? So, avocado, crush on you. So I've got a crush on you. But my heart is shy. Let us get together. And so it's a whole story just like that about becoming friends, having a heart-to-heart, and basically being friends.
I've used that one with William Steig's C to B, C to C.
That's William Steig.
There we go. The two books that we were trying to think of early, because that will match up. This one's a little bit simpler, although there are some where you really have to kind of play with the language to
I
get.
had to have her help.
But I love crush on you doesn't come trippingly off the tongue.
Do you care at all for me?
Yeah.
I love that one. So William Steig, that's right. Some of his are pretty darn tough.
Yeah.
This one, it's good for kids to play with words this way. It makes their little brains work.
I have 2 math books, and we constantly hear, there aren't enough books for math. There aren't enough books for math. Well, if you know David Adler, you should know there's some good math books. And these are 2 of his. One is called Let's Estimate, a book about estimating and rounding numbers. Look at the chart on the back, which gives the rules for when you should round up and when you should round down. And here's a wonderful double-page spread that talks about the difference between rounding and estimating, because those are 2 different things. And it gives you a really good example. When you estimate, you make an educated guess at an actual number. But when you round a number, you change a number so that it's easier to work with. Estimating is not rounding. Rounding is not estimating. But rounding can help you to estimate. So it takes you to the grocery store and says, how do you figure out how much you have in your cart? Well, you round up here. In this case, you've got, this is $3.95. We're going to round it up to 4. $1.95 rounded to 2. $90 round up to 1. The actual cost is $6.77. The estimate is $7. So you're really close. You're rounding in order to estimate what's in your cart and if you have enough money for it.
That is such a good book.
So it's Let's Estimate. And I love math. I taught math for a while. The other book that goes right along with it is called Place Value by David Adler. And I love, you can see here, thousands. It's like a little Olympic roundup here. You've got ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. It even goes into decimals through the book. So look at that. Look at the end papers.
Ooh, that's awesome.
So here you have from the smallest, hundredths, tens, tenths, ones, all the way up to trillions.
10 trillions.
Yeah. So great use of numbers, and that's what I love about this. So Adler says, look, 9,347 and 7,493 have the same digits, but the order's different, and that makes the numbers different. And it shows you here what's different about them, what is in the hundredths place, what's in the ones place. So you can see automatically the difference between the two. It's a great book to teach kids about place value, about decimal points, about why putting numbers in the proper order is important, because otherwise you don't get the right answer ever. So love these concept books.
And if you look around, there are some really good math picture books out there. There really are. All right, our last book for today is an ABC book. And, you know, there are ABC books about everything. And so, of course, there should be one about pasta. And so, for example, so it's a general ABC book. J, jumbo shell jugglers. And K, kale pasta knife thrower. So basically, you know, it's so much fun to do ABC books with kids. And you can do them with the tiniest. I did them with pre-K students. You can do ABC books with anybody. Linguini Leotard Louise, or Lois, sorry, Lois.
That's okay, we just give her a fancier name. That's all right.
And Macaroni the Magician. So, ABC books still being churned out, and we love them.
So we hope you're welcoming us back. We promise not to be quite as long between this one and the next one that we do. And we have some other topics that we want to talk about. But remember, you can always suggest topics down in the comments section on YouTube. YouTube? Well, it's new to us today. On YouTube. So let us know what you want us to talk about, and we'll be happy to provide that information for you. Thanks for tuning in to another exciting episode of PPPD. Professors providing professional development, and not in pajamas. Thanks for joining us.
Although I look like I'm in pajamas today.